Today we're here to talk about digital strategy for the blue economy in the context of the BlueInvest program. This is the second session that follows the one that we had yesterday. So we'll start with a quick introduction of our panelists, and then we're going to have 4 different dimensions. The first one being assessing your digital fitness, followed by digital upskilling for your business, BXT and your business, and how to apply BXT to your business. So introducing our panelists, we have Zsuzsa Kozula. She is a manager here at PwC for upskilling. She's been with us for over 15 years, and she originally started her career with us in Budapest and passed on with project management, talent acquisition, HR. And then we have today to talk about BXT, Pierre Honnay. So he has long experience in coaching, and he's been with us for over 16 years. He is part of the PwC Experience Center in Luxembourg and has helped multiple companies through their journey on BXT. We're going to start with assessing your digital fitness now. So, Zsuzsa, please, if you can take the floor.
Okay, so I believe each project and program should start to check and assess where you are currently compared to your targeted status and goal. But assessing your status regarding the digital sounds really challenging, I believe, as probably you don't know what you mean under this term digital, and then probably you are considering what is not digital. And then also there comes another question, how to assess the digital knowledge and digital skills, even at individual level or at group or corporate level. So you might have a lot of questions. Here at PwC, we defined with the PwC Customer Center the foundation of digital fitness. And actually, it has 4 pillars: skills, mindset, relationship, and behavior. And then when we are talking about individual, group, or corporate digital fitness app, we need to assess these pillars. Skills and mindset probably seems to be quite an obvious item, but relationship and behavior, I believe for the first sight, it sounds a little bit interesting. Actually, it adds an additional layers to the skills and mindset items. These skills, which we are quite often thinking about digital as only skills, because probably we think it is only about the tools and technology, but actually the context is much wider. This is a question how to successfully apply this skill set and capabilities. And then this is where we need to understand the importance of mindset, relationship, and behavior, because these are the drivers and the accelerators of a successful implementation of these acquired technology or tools skill set. And then probably we can move the other slide. So as I mentioned that here at PwC, together with the PwC Customer Center, we developed the so-called digital fitness method and then a tool to manage it. And then it was developed by the center's experts, and then based on 10 years experience and knowledge from surveys across multiple industries and multiple territories. Actually, this is a mobile app with tailored questionnaires and industry-focused context to assess and establish digital skills. It starts with an assessment, but later on, after the user's learning, it will have a reassessment. So the result actually can go up or even down, but it also engages people and then provide an ongoing learning opportunity for those who are using it. And then how the assessment goes down. First, there are high-level questions. This is the so-called discover level. After the discover level, it goes a little bit down, and then we have some comprehensive questions to explore more details. And then, as a third layer, we have focused, detailed questions to drill down into specific areas. Actually, the assessment questionnaire not only has these 3 layers, but it is also used 2 models. One of them is a performance module. You can see here the 6 elements or lenses of the performance module. It starts with define. So the first area to investigate how much you understand your organization, its digital vision, and then how your current value is currently created. The second step or the second lens is no. So the questionnaire determines how well you understand your client in the digital economy. The third lens is trust. It is, I believe, quite important to understand and how well you are equipped to protect your assets, data, and reputation against any threats that could come from the digital world. The accelerate part is also an important lens. It is about to understand your capability to deliver digital initiatives and changes. Create, this is the next one, how to generate new ideas, how you are evaluated, and ultimately brought all the new ideas into life. And the very last one is the evolve part, how much you are able to implement this digital innovation, and then how much you are able to enable technologies, processes, and people. So that was another aspect of the questionnaire. And the third aspect is actually the operating model. It's again quite a unique approach. It tries to understand your capabilities through the different function of the organization: information, people, technology, operation, corporate strategy, and also the customer offering. Let's say information, try to understand how you capture data, what kind of analysis you are doing, what is your reporting system. Regarding people, how your digital culture, your skills of people are, and how they are empowered to deliver the digital vision. The technology part is about to understand if you are equipped with the required technology to transform your firm to the new digital area. But right now we are talking about only the methodology. I would like to go a little bit down and then showing you some concrete examples, concrete questions. So this is from the discovery level, and then it used the elements of the performance model. I just pick some questions that I really like. For example, is digital a central part of your overall business strategy? Do you have the technology to deliver the changes driven by digital? I believe these are quite good questions for the discovery level. If we turn to another page, we can see more questions still from the discovery level, so the highest level, and then from the performance model approach. For example, is your organization prepared for dealing with data breach or cyber attacks? If we are turning to the next page, this is the level 2, the explore level, where we have more specific questions to explore more about the details. Let's say, is your current online channel compatible across platforms and devices? Is digital integrated within your organization culture? And then if we go down on the next slide, you can see what are the level 3, how we go down really deep into that. So let's pick, the social media as an example. Do your digital channel make use of contextual data, e.g. customer location, time, date? So here you could see the 3 levels, and then also how the question differs from different levels. and then also from the different model. Then I would like to talk about a little bit about the timeline, how to implement this assessment. Also, it is quite vague because the implementation timeline really depends on the size and the complexity of your organization, your firm. So the typical delivery time could be really vary from this timeline to up to even, I believe, 6 months or even longer. This is an example showing the steps. So first of all, in the assessment part, you need to do a gap analysis and an internal assessment. Also, you might consider to do an external assessment, but it's quite important to create the digital vision. What is your vision, what you would like to achieve, what is your target goal. Then when you move down to the design phase, you need to design your digital capability and plan it. And then also you need to create a digital roadmap for the project. And then when you go down, you need to create the detailed plan, and then the implementation plan, and then the execution can start. And then probably we need to talk about also what is the output from the assessment. You can get an internal assessment of the internal capabilities. I believe this is one of the most powerful part of that, because quite often we have just some kind of assumptions that we are quite digital, but we don't understand how much we are digital and then which area that we are missing, and then which area where we are quite strong in. Also, this assessment can provide a benchmark compared to your peers, but also that can provide you a customer view as well. And then right now I would like to take a pause here and then talk a little bit about how we did it and why we did it at PwC, because regarding this digital fitness assessment, it has been released to all people at PwC, and then we are rather focused on the internal assessment of the capabilities, but also we considered it as a good learning platform, because there are quite a lot of, we can place quite a lot of bits and pieces of learning, which means that it is not a deep learning, but it provides us and our people a good understanding what digital means, and then where we have areas to improve, and then later on we can develop more depth program to deliver and then to develop those skills. Okay, and then upskilling strategy. So probably we can move to the next slide. We draw here a kind of roadmap how to go through this digital upskilling. And then, as I mentioned before, it has to start with assessment and identifying. So the very first start in building a digital strategy is what you want to achieve. What is your vision? What is your target? You need to form it, and then it should be, as every project management, the starting point. As a next step, and then I believe this is where it is a little bit different from the usual project management, that you need to combine not only the business strategy, but the experience design and the technology expertise. Also, you need to put together a team, a diverse, multi-skilled team, in order to develop the project. And then we need to talk about the change management part, because what we experience here at PwC, that it is not just a kind of a new learning program. It is more about cultural change, and then because of that, you really need to focus on the change management part. You need to identify whatever you call them, champions, change makers, influencers who will be really the driver of the change, who will be able to reach out lots of people and then convince them about the importance of this project, about the importance of this change. And then also here you might consider what would be your approach. If you would like to have the top-down approach, meaning that your leaders are making statements and then the whole program is led by your leaders, or you would like to use the bottom-up approach, as we can call it, that citizen-led approach, and then you let your people, your employees coming up new ideas and then nurturing that type of environment where they can create new ideas and then these ideas can be executed as well. Or you can think about that, the both approach, applying both approach together, because I believe that could be the most efficient way. When we are talking about digital upskilling, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, it is quite a big question: what is digital, and then what is not digital? We are talking about essential 8, and then these are listed here. I truly believe that, and then this is quite accepted, that these are the main drivers, the main channels of digital, and then this is the areas that you might consider to deal with in the future. These are the artificial intelligence, augmented reality, blockchain, drones, Internet of Things, robotics, virtual reality, and 3D printing. Okay. And then the challenge, the workforce challenge, because whatever you plan, definitely it is your people, your colleagues, your teammates need to deliver it, and then also they need to go through this change journey. In order to help them, you might consider some aspects. That first of all, the people-related analytics must improve. Because whatever you would like to develop with the people, you need to have statistics. You need to have a clear view on data. Also, it's another aspect that business leaders need to be much clearer about their reskilling strategy and what they really mean for their workforce. So we need to consider how the skills will be valued, what are the key drivers, and then how we reward those skills. Also, you might need to consider to set up a kind of ideal profile, meaning that which skills are needed for the future, and then which skills are obsolete, and then you will don't need them in the future. Still, can you get back there? Yeah, the third element. This is the external narrative. If you are doing this transformation within your firm, I believe it is quite important to broadcast it to the external audiences as well. And then also, what I was thinking about that, to mention that reskilling is only part of the story. This is what we are doing at PwC. Not only doing the learning platform, but we are also focusing on the tools that the people need to use, but also a platform where they can share ideas and then they can co-work together. Okay, and then there is a case study that I would like to talk really briefly about. This is about market and development, and then it was quite clear in the global strategy that we need to move on. We need to improve in this area, and then this area needs to have a transformation journey. So we were looking for a tool that we can support this transformation journey, and then it was the Salesforce Lighting. that supported this transformation. The very first step, I believe, in each and every change management, that we need to have the stakeholders buy-in, the leadership buy-in. We created a campaign, and then we defined and targeted various stakeholders, and then we make sure that they are their buy-in, and then they are engaged to this project. Also, we deliver the marketing and sales campaign within to make sure that all people, every people, has the buy-in as well, not only just our leaders. And then it's another good way to deliver change management, to create roles or personas, and then describe their expected behavior, their characteristics. We can call it day in a life description, because it helps the learning and development team as well, how to develop tailor-made training for them. Okay? And then there are some statistics there about the engagement rate, and then the number of logins in the first month. And that was that I wanted to cover.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all the shared insights and giving us a little bit a better idea on how can we upskill ourselves, our team, and our company moving forward in the digital universe. Now we're going to go over with Pierre-André and talk about BXT and your business. So he will start by explaining the concept altogether, and we'll have a short video introduction. So.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm pretty excited to be able to share what this barbarian acronym of BXT and more specifically what it means to us and to our clients, and how we work with BXT in today's very challenging world. As the quote says on the slide, we're talking about ways to navigate complex problems, and it is not possible anymore to solve problems with the same strategies we've been using in the past. We will replicate similar mistakes, and similar problems are now becoming greater problems. So BXT is actually the quest to find the sweet spot, and which sweet spot? The sweet spot to develop the most viable, the most desirable, and the most feasible product or service. I'm glad today to be here with a group of entrepreneurs who all have developed products and services and look on a daily basis for solutions for their existing clients, but also for their new clients. And BXT is exactly about this. So how do we get there? Well, the best place to start is really to change perspective. So let me show you a quick video by Rory Sutherland that was played during a TEDx session a couple of years ago, and he illustrates the key point of the power of perspective.
And what that means is that in looking at solutions, we've probably given too much priority to what I call technical engineering solutions, Newtonian solutions, and not nearly enough to the psychological ones. You know my example of the Eurostar. £6 million spent to reduce the journey time between Paris and London by about 40 minutes. For 0.01% of this money, you could have put Wi-Fi on the trains, which wouldn't have reduced the duration of the journey, but would have improved its enjoyment and its usefulness far more. For maybe 10% of the money, you could have paid all of the world's top male and female supermodels to walk up and down the train, handing out free Chateau Petrus to all the passengers. You'd still have £5 billion in change, and people would ask for the trains to be slowed down. Why were we not given the chance to solve that problem psychologically? I think it's because there's an imbalance, an asymmetry in the way we treat creative, emotionally driven psychological ideas versus the way we treat rational, numerical, spreadsheet-driven ideas. If you're a creative person, I think quite rightly, you have to share all your ideas for approval with people much more rational than you. You have to go in and you have to have a cost-benefit analysis, a feasibility study, an ROI study, and so forth. And I think that's probably right. But this does not apply the other way around. People who have an existing framework, an economic framework, an engineering framework, feel that actually logic is its own answer. What they don't say is, well, the numbers all seem to add up, but before I present this idea, I'll go and show it to some really crazy people to see if they can come up with something better. And so we artificially, I think, prioritize what I'd call mechanistic ideas over psychological ideas. An example of a great psychological idea, the single best improvement in passenger satisfaction on the London Underground per pound spent came when they didn't add any extra trains nor change the frequency of the trains. They put dot matrix display boards on the platforms. Because the nature of a wait is not just dependent on its numerical quality, its duration, but on the level of uncertainty you experience during that wait. Waiting 7 minutes for a train with a countdown clock is less frustrating and irritating than waiting 4 minutes, knuckle-biting, going, when's this train going to damn well arrive? Here's a beautiful example of a psychological solution deployed in Korea. Red traffic lights have a countdown delay. It's proven to reduce the accident rate in experiments. Why? Because road rage, impatience, and general irritation are massively reduced when you can actually see the time you have to wait. In China, not really understanding the principle behind this, they applied the same principle to green traffic lights, which isn't a great idea. You're 200 yards away, you realize you've got 5 seconds to go, you floor it. The Koreans very assiduously did test both. The accident rate goes down when you apply this to red traffic lights, it goes up when you apply it to green traffic lights. This is all I'm asking for, really, in human decision-making, is the consideration of these 3 things. I'm not asking for the complete primacy of one over the other. I'm merely saying that when you solve problems, you should look at all 3 of these equally, and you should seek as far as possible to find solutions which sit in the sweet spot in the middle.
It's exactly what I'm here to talk about today. It's BXT, and BXT exactly this. It's looking after that sweet spot. It guides us in the way we work, we think, and engage. It's how we combine the business expertise that Rory refers to, together with a human-centered approach, which is at the heart of everything, and the technological know-how to change the conversation. So going a little bit deeper, if we can move to the next slide, what we refer to BXT is actually 3 acronym. It's an acronym referring to business, experience, and technology. In other words, we believe that the innovation sweet spot and the highest quality of solution is only achievable if the solution that is developed is a viable solution, a desirable solution, and a feasible solution. So, looking at aspects of building a business case, looking at the strategic plan, the current state assessment, operating models, etc., is everything related to developing the viability of the solution and requires specific skills. On the other hand, there is a need for an entire skill set which will allow for your product or your service to be feasible, or in the case of some digital specific services such as platforms or software, the scalability of the solution. And this is where we require a skill set of evaluating the emerging technologies, the technical architecture, the integration, the models that will be used for data or visualization. And not to keep the least for the last, the experience. Experience is at the heart of everything we design nowadays, especially in this digital environment. This is what will make or break the solution, because at the end of the day, the user will be the one deciding if they adopt or they don't adopt. So how much is the solution going to be desired by them? It's all about bringing people who have knowledge in terms of assessing the experience, researching the ethnographic, mapping the various touch points of the solution you've developed with the customer, listening to the voice of the customer, designing an experience journey. All this will help you build a desirable solution. And the right balance of B, X, and T will be the sweet spot that we consider in order to develop the best solution, the one that will tackle the real problem. So if we move to the next slide. So how do we go about this? Well, every challenge we face, it requires to work backwards. Okay, instead of considering the solution first, we spend a lot of time identifying the real problem. A critical aspect of our work is to put the human at the center of everything we do. And to do this, we use a very popular structured design approach called the double diamond to tackle these challenges in 4 phases. So the first phase is looking at the graph from left to right, is a phase where we discover, we research, we look into the problem in a divergent way. We compile a lot of data, we interview a lot of people. This is where we gather a lot of knowledge. Then the second phase is about converging. This is where we define, this is where we reframe, and reframe is really key in the BXT exercise in order to formulate and articulate the real opportunity or the real problem statement. We use this with various exercises or with various techniques or canvas. Here, this is the time of making choices that will sum up as a sentence or a piece of document that can be used then to start building the solution. And this is where we begin with the third phase, which is the develop and ideate phase. Once again, we are diverging our thinking. And keep in mind that we are doing this with each time the B, the X, and the T people in the room. So hopefully the diverging part is as rich as possible and considers every sort of opportunity that comes from experience of the user, the technical opportunities. We heard about the essential 8 in the first part of the presentation. This is typically where we take them into consideration. We also have the business people making sure that the solution could be as viable as possible. And once we've once again ideated and enlarged and diverged as much as possible to design that solution, this is where comes the time to deliver and prototype and test the first concept or the first solution. So closing the second diamond, this is where we select one solution, the one that brings really a different look at the problem, a different mindset, or something which is really bold, that can tackle the problem that was stated and also create a new opportunity. This is then delivered and developed in new ways of working that, among other things, rely on agile methodologies. So this double diamond is really key to the development of a BXT way solution. If we can move to the next slide. So the last 2 aspects of BXT, so the first 2 were the power of perspective, bringing the right different mindset into the room. Second one was about putting the human at the center. Well, the last 2 approaches about working collaboratively and looking for bold solutions. Never be satisfied with a standard approach. And the last 2 aspects of this is really to deliver the various phases of design thinking, we leverage interactive and co-creation sessions to achieve this. So we have carefully selected the participants representing the various perspectives required by each specific case. And in order to illustrate how this can work, let me show you a small video. It's a recent session, took place in Frankfurt, and we worked with a group of participants from different backgrounds, and the topic of the day was to find ways forward and in the area of circular packaging. So let's have a look at the video, and then we will talk about the outcome, what was achieved during this one-day session. Awesome. So what can we say about this? It is certainly not welcome to the world of Post-it. I would say welcome to the world of efficiency. And believe me, we'll come back to this in one or two slides, but it is proven to be extremely efficient. So on that day in Frankfurt, participants discussed which challenges and success factors companies have to take into account and which conditions must be filled. You can come back to the slide before, I'm not there yet. Which conditions must be fulfilled for the economy to avoid waste, use packaging sustainably, and relieve the environment. And looking at the video, you will not see the outcomes detailed because they are still working on it, but believe me that the outcome was huge. Well, first of all, we aligned a cross-value chain list of participants, from packaging manufacturers to consumer packaged good producers and retailers, and even recycling companies, who all sent senior executives to attend that workshop. The session allowed to inspire participants on the need to work together. They realized that it is not at the individual company level that a circular packaging solution will be found, but it's working together at the industry level. Finally, bold solutions were designed, and we developed the roadmap and the cornerstones of the new industry-wide initiative. Lastly, as a result of initiating the work together, we achieved the commitment to support and launch this solution. So stay tuned, because thanks of the work with our German firm, and this entire industry initiative will soon come up with circular packaging solutions. So here's how we deliver BXT in a nutshell. We've talked about the diverse perspective, working teams with diverse backgrounds. Whenever you are working on a project, preparing for the next solution development at your own level, include diverse perspective, leave your ego at the door, allow the younger generation to come to these workshops, get the right people in the room with different experiences, skills, ideas, and background. Then take a human-centered approach. This is all about listening to the customer. This is about really asking questions and looking at the problem first, making sure you have spent enough time understanding what the problem is all about and reframing that problem into something that is a problem statement that you can work on. The people that you want to satisfy are the end user. Then it's about the working iteratively and collaboratively. So together, involve the clients, involve the end users, and as often as possible, every step of the way, make sure you create something the client actually wants. Test it and come back to your lab and continue to improve it. In touching very briefly on the agile methodology, one of the actions is about delivering small pieces, but on a very frequent result. And this is exactly what we do with BXT. And last, certainly not least, we give time for big ideas to emerge. We use coaching methodologies to accompany along the way and let give the free space to these different perspectives to come up with the big ideas. We avoid to jump into solutioning. We really need to hold people back. We are literally designed in a way that we jump to solutions. That's how we're designed. We're literally holding this back so that we make sure that the big ideas have time to emerge. And believe me, what comes out of those sessions is often very, very ambitious. So that's the summary, that's the wrap up of how we at PwC deliver BXT. And just to finalize with some figures, it works. It works. Comments from some participants refer to BXT sessions such as the best working experience of their life. Others say that in 2 days they've achieved more work than in 3 months. Factually, we observe that the client productivity is really boosted, that whatever the transformation topic is, its execution is much faster, and out of everything, there is an absolute clear adoption rate of 100% of our clients who are satisfied about tackling crazy problems or big problems together and differently. So BXT works. The question is, and for the next couple of minutes, how this can be brought into your businesses. We won't have time to go into the details, but I'm here and I'm happy to discuss with you and answer any question you would have in terms of initiating such a process in your respective companies.
Perfect. Thank you so much,